Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to demystify the absolute foundational mechanics of capital allocation. We are taking you on a journey, starting with basic personal finance math and going all the way up to the really complex mechanics of modern asset pricing. If you've ever wondered how the pros actually think about deploying capital, or how a seemingly tiny fee can just completely devour your future wealth, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The math of wealth, 2. The hidden drag of fees, 3. Lump sum versus cost averaging, 4. The behavioral shock absorber, 5. Beyond basic market returns, and finally, 6. Entering the factor zoo.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the math of wealth. Before we even think about buying stocks or building dynamic portfolios, we have to look at the absolute structural baseline of your money: debt. Credit cards regularly charge an annual percentage rate of 18%, or honestly, even more. So paying off that balance represents a guaranteed, risk-free return of 18%. Just pause and think about that for a second. Now compare that to the historical return of the equity markets, which usually hovers around 10%, and that 10% comes with a ton of volatility. Liquidating high-interest consumer debt isn't just good financial housekeeping. Mathematically, it is literally the most efficient use of your capital. It completely crushes any basic market premium you could ever hope to capture.
Which brings us to Section 2, the hidden drag of fees.
Once you've escaped the gravity of high-interest debt, your next major job is protecting your wealth, and this brings us to the dark side of compounding. It's the mathematical opposite of those guaranteed returns we just talked about. We're talking about unseen portfolio fees and how they can silently bleed your wealth dry over time. Look at how these diverging lines, modeled by the SEC, show the devastating impact of a seemingly minor 1% annual fee. It massively drags down a $100,000 portfolio that's otherwise growing at a 4% gross annual rate. You can literally see the net return line completely detach and fall away over the decades.
Let's put some hard numbers to that. The crucial takeaway here is that this tiny 1% fee mathematically consumes almost $38,500 over 20 years. That's an 18% total loss of your potential wealth. But why is it so incredibly high? Well, it's not just the 1% you're paying today. It's the opportunity cost. Those fee dollars are permanently removed from your compounding engine. You are forever forfeiting the returns those specific dollars would have generated in all the years to come. It is a massive wealth destroyer.
Moving right along to Section 3, lump sum versus cost averaging.
Okay, so you've eliminated high-interest debt. You've minimized the fee drag. Now we arrive at the classic deployment dilemma. What exactly do you do when you get a cash windfall to invest? You essentially face a stark choice. Do you put all your money into the market all at once? That's lump sum investing. Or do you slowly drip it into the market over time using dollar cost averaging? It's a huge tension between maximizing your time in the market to capture gains versus pacing yourself to avoid the nightmare scenario of really bad timing.
If we look at this strictly by the math, the data is crystal clear. Vanguard's historical research reveals that lump sum investing beats out dollar cost averaging about 68% of the time. Basically, 2/3 of the time you win by going all in. Why? Because global markets, generally speaking, drift upward over time. Holding cash on the sidelines carries a massive opportunity cost in lost risk premium. Delaying your investment is really just a sneaky form of market timing, and statistically, you are way better off getting your money working for you immediately.
So that takes us to Section 4, the behavioral shock absorber.
Knowing that lump sum investing is mathematically superior, we really have to turn to behavioral economics to understand why dollar cost averaging is still so incredibly popular. And it all comes down to one terrifying question. But what if the market crashes tomorrow? That fear is driven by a psychological phenomenon called loss aversion. Psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky proved through prospect theory that the emotional agony of losing money feels roughly twice as intense as the joy of an equivalent gain. And hey, it's a totally human reaction. If you drop a lump sum into the market on a Monday and the whole thing tanks on Tuesday, the psychological pain is brutal. It can absolutely lead to catastrophic panic selling. And that right there brilliantly illustrates why dollar cost averaging is so widely utilized. Sure, it might not be the absolute mathematical optimizer, but it serves as an essential behavioral shock absorber. By systematically spreading out your investments, you completely reframe market drops. Suddenly, a correction isn't a disaster at all. It's actually a great opportunity to lower your average cost per share. It keeps you disciplined, and most importantly, it keeps you from abandoning the market entirely.
All right, Section 5, beyond basic market returns.
Let's zoom out now. We're shifting from your personal deployment strategy to the actual mechanics of the broader market. We need to decode how your deployed assets actually grow once they're invested. To do this, we have to look at the evolution of asset pricing. It's a fascinating journey from a really simplistic single-factor model in the 1960s all the way to the highly advanced dynamic multi-factor models that massive institutions use today.
So, back in the 60s, the capital asset pricing model, or CAPM for short, was totally revolutionary. It essentially said your return is purely based on how volatile your stock is compared to the broader market. But it had a glaring flaw. CAPM assumed markets were perfectly efficient, and it could only explain about 70% of a diversified portfolio's returns. Think about that. A massive 30% of performance was left completely unexplained. It was basically financial dark matter, just floating out there waiting for someone to decode it.
Which leads us perfectly into our final section, Section 6, entering the factor zoo.
To figure out that missing 30%, academic researchers really had to peel back the onion. They stepped into what the finance industry affectionately and kind of hilariously calls the factor zoo. This was the multi-factor revolution. Economists 𝗟𝘂𝗺𝗻𝗂 and Kenneth French added two crucial new dimensions to the standard model. They proved that smaller companies systematically outperform large caps over time. That's the size factor. They also proved that value stocks beat out growth stocks. Then, a few years later, 𝗟𝘂𝗺𝗺 came along and proved that stocks with recent upward momentum actually tend to keep winning. Suddenly, by targeting size, value, and momentum, investors could mathematically explain the precise returns that basic market metrics completely missed.
Fast forward to today, and relying on static models just isn't going to cut it anymore. Modern wealth managers are using incredibly advanced stochastic frameworks like the Vanguard asset allocation model to navigate all these complex factors. Instead of a set-it-and-forget-it strategy straight out of the 1960s, these are dynamic portfolios. They actively manage multidimensional risks, systematic, alpha, and factor risks, shifting your money around over the coming decade to capitalize when markets get dangerously overvalued or attractively undervalued. It is a whole different ballgame.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a rather provocative question to chew on. Does your current portfolio rely on the static math of the 1960s or the dynamic, multi-factor strategies of today? Think about it. Are you unknowingly bleeding capital to hidden 1% fees? Are you sitting on cash because you're scared, even though lump sum math clearly says you shouldn't? Is your capital allocation strategy truly built to capture the dynamic reality of modern markets? It's a huge question, but it's absolutely worth answering if you want to optimize your wealth over the long haul. Thanks for hanging out with me on this deep dive into the architecture of capital allocation. Catch you next time.
OTS Ullu. Knowledge is one of the best investments you can make, and continuous learning keeps you sharp. Subscribe to OTS Ullu on YouTube.